Hey everybody, I'm Ben Gromicko from Internachi, and you are checking out Nachi TV, nachi.tv. This is where we do free online live interactive webinars. Sometimes I teach, sometimes we have special guests, and we have a special guest today. Aaron Fuhriman from Guardian Financial. We're going to talk about accepting credit cards during a home inspection. But to register for a free webinar is pretty easy. You just go to nachi.tv, nachi.tv, and I'm old enough to know what that TV symbol is like with the antennas. And you click a button to register for free, and you get to a list of upcoming webinars with dates and times. And we're doing this one. It looked like this: accepting credit cards as a home inspector. And I remember when I switched from not accepting credit cards to accepting credit cards, and my business just boomed. I've been doing home inspections for a long time, where we were accepting cash and then checks, and then striking a credit card was just a lot easier for everybody, not just my client, but just for my office manager in my business. Also, I want to tell you that we're having a National Home Inspector Convention in Southern California in October 2020. So October 2020, Southern California, that's a really great time. It's going to be about 80 something degrees. It's going to be a great place to visit and have a nice little business trip. We're having a national convention there from October 15th to the 17th. And if you're interested in coming to the national convention, about 1,000 other inspectors will be there. We have about 50 vendors. So if you want to meet vendors face to face and ask them questions like, what can you do for my business? What kind of discounts do you give to Internachi members? All that good stuff. This is the place to be. So we'll have more details as we get closer to the summertime, but you can just enter your email at the bottom of the page a little bit below the fold and enter your email address to stay updated. But today we're going to talk about accepting credit cards during a home inspection. And Aaron Fuhriman from Guardian Financial is here with us, and he's going to do a presentation for us. Feel free to ask questions during the presentation. The webinar is going to be video recorded, so if you have to pick up the phone and go and do a home inspection, that's okay. I'll send you a link to the video recording so you can watch it later, and you can not miss a thing with Aaron. And Aaron, can you hear me?
I can. Yep, thank you.
I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, taking the time to speak to all of our inspectors. And what do you want to talk about today?
Well, a topic that for most inspectors is something they don't like to talk about. A lot of times I tell people I'm kind of the dentist of the inspection industry. I do the root canals. Nobody likes going to the dentist, but something that's super essential and important. And I like to start off just by mentioning the fact that when you're looking at your credit card processor, you got to remember that they get your money before you do. And so it's really important a topic, even though it's not a real sexy topic. It's something that I hope inspectors take a little bit of time and dig into what they're doing, or if they're not doing it, what they can do different. But before that, I want to spend most of my time just talking about why it's important to take credit cards as a business owner. You mentioned how your business increased when you started taking credit cards. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of credit cards versus cash or check. And I think one of the big reasons why it's important to take credit cards is the opportunity to get paid in advance, especially if you've got one of the newer inspection softwares. You know, most of them now will allow it so that you can book the inspection, have an email sent out to your customer with a payment link included, giving that customer the ability to pay in advance. And we found over and over again how important it is that you get paid before you show up. It's obviously not. You obviously can get paid when you get there. You can get paid after the inspection, but everybody's life's easier if you've already got the money before you show up. A couple reasons. First of all, you can reduce cancellations. If you've been paid already, The customer's giving you the credit card information, the transaction's been approved, customer goes home that night, and the real estate agent or their neighbor or their dad's like, oh, you should have used my inspector, they're cheaper or better or whatever. Well, if that customer's already paid you, they're much less likely to cancel and go with somebody else. You've probably all the inspectors have had it where they get that phone call saying, hey, the deal fell through, I don't need you to inspect anymore. Sometimes the deal does fall through, but sometimes it's because they went with the other guy, and getting paid up front can eliminate some of that. And it doesn't take a lot. You know, if you can reduce 1 or 2 cancellations per year because you got paid in advance, you just covered all your credit card processing fees for the year. So it doesn't take a lot of reduced cancellations to really make up for the fact that you're paying some fees on credit card processing. And then just chasing money. Everybody hates that. It's time wasted. It's time where you're not making money doing inspections. Instead, you're chasing money. If you're one of those guys that have a bunch of receivables and you're taking mostly cash or check, that's the reason. So switching over to credit cards can save you a lot of time on dealing with that. Your agents will notice. If you're a cash only guy and you've got real estate agents that are referring customers to you, that agent, if they've done business with you for any amount of time, will know if you don't take credit cards. So when their customers, a lot of times the millennials, ask, hey, can I pay my home inspection on a credit card when I use your guy? If the real estate agent knows that you don't take credit cards, they're going to send them some other direction if their customers want to pay with a credit card. And that's a phone call that you may not ever receive because you didn't get the referral in the first place. Your customers want to pay with credit cards, especially millennials. Between the ages of 34 and 44, 58% of them will only do business with companies that accept credit cards, and 52% of those people don't even have checks. So again, your customers want it, your agents want it. It helps save time on chasing money. You reduce your cancellations. But this, I think, is the most important aspect of getting paid with a credit card, is increasing your average ticket. If you're the type of home inspector, and hopefully you are, that has and offers ancillary services, accepting credit cards can help encourage your customers to purchase more from you. If you've got option 1, option 2, and option 3, they're more likely to pick the more expensive option if they can pay with a credit card. And studies and science have proved this out over and over. If you've ever heard of Dave Ramsey, he's a big financial guru nationwide. Most people have listened to him on the radio, really famous. And if you know anything about Dave Ramsey, the number one thing he tells his clients or his customers, his listeners, is don't have a credit card. He tells them never, ever have a credit. Just tear them all up, get rid of them. He doesn't even accept credit cards when you're buying his services. You have to pay with a debit card or send him a check in the mail. So he's just diehard on never accepting, never having a credit card as a consumer. And on his website, when you go there, this is part of the reason why he always talks about this study they did between 3 big universities, Stanford, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon, did a study where they had people paying for things, and they had them hooked up to brain scanners to see what happens when they pay with cash and check or when they pay with credit card. And what they found is when people pay with cash, it actually was activating the pain sensors in their brain. It actually physically hurt when people pay with cash. When people were paying with credit card, those pain sensors were anesthetized. It's like it didn't hurt anymore. And so Dave Ramsey says, if you don't feel the slight pain of pain, guess what happens all the time? You spend more money. So when you're thinking about that as a consumer, that makes a ton of sense, right? If you want to spend less money, don't use credit cards. Well, as a business owner, what does that tell you you should be doing? You should be accepting credit cards. People statistically just spend more when they pay with a credit card because it doesn't hurt. When they pay with cash, check, it hurts. And here's a great example of this. Those same professors wanted to prove this out in real life, and so they held an auction. It was during the playoffs, NBA playoffs, the Celtics. It was game 6 of the Celtics. They had some tickets for it. And this was in MIT, right? These are MIT professors. So this was in Boston where the Celtics were playing, a home game. Everybody wanted to go. Then they had some Red Sox tickets. It was the beginning of the year. wasn't a big deal, not an important game. And then they just had some Red Sox and Celtics banners. So they had these kids come in from MIT. These are smart kids, and they didn't know what was happening. They just went in for an auction to buy these tickets. And half of the group, when they came in, they were handed the sheet of how the auction was going to work. Half of them were told that they have to pay with credit card. The other half were told they have to pay with cash. And then they let the bidding begin. And this is what happened here. The average person who paid with cash was willing to bid up to $28 for those Celtics tickets. For credit card, they bid up to $60. Okay, that's 113% increase that people were willing to pay when they could pay with a credit card. 76% increase with the Red Sox tickets, and 59% increase with the banner sales. And this is just one study out of many. They've proved this over and over and over again, that when you accept credit cards, or when you accept credit cards at your business, that your customers will spend more. So it's just really important that when you're booking your inspection, and you're talking to your customers, and you're saying, hey, my inspection costs, whatever, let's say $400 to do the inspection. If you want the termite inspection, it's this much. The thermography is this much. The mold inspection is this much. But we do accept credit cards. So letting them know right up front that you take credit cards can make all the difference in the world. Again, look at these numbers, 113% increase. So when you're doing those ancillary services, make sure your customers know that you take credit cards. And I know that this is really kind of opposite of what you want to do, right? Nobody likes paying credit card fees, and I totally get it. Everybody hates that. But if you can make it so that those credit cards, the credit card fees are making you more than what it costs you, because you're reducing cancellations, you're not wasting time collecting money or chasing down money, and you're selling more ancillary services, all you need to do is get about a 2.5% to 3% increase in sales, and you've just covered your fees. And over and over again, they've proved that you'll get more than that. So one of my challenges today for all of you inspectors out there, especially those ones who are really antsy, hesitant to accept credit cards or to push your credit cards, go for a month and see what happens. Every single customer, right up front when you talk to them, let them know that you accept credit cards, and see if your average ticket increases. Especially for those of you who have ancillary services, see if you get more people to purchase those ancillary services, because you're letting them know right up front that they can purchase with a credit card. And I think you'll be surprised at what happens. So I wanted to also go over some things to watch out for when you're setting up a merchant account, or if you already have a credit card processing account, I want you to go look at your statements and look out for some of these things. Club fees. This is something that's just come up in the last few years, where they charge you like $15 a month to get free paper. It's total waste. Make sure you're not paying any sort of club fees. Termination fees. This is something when you're setting up an account, never sign a contract that locks you into a 3-year, 4-year contract with a big cancellation fee. Just don't do it, because they can jack those rates up whenever they want, and you're stuck, because if you cancel, you're going to pay a big cancellation fee. PCI compliance fees and non-compliance fees. These are something you want to watch out for. A lot of people do charge them now. In fact, almost everybody charges them, but you want to make sure that they're reasonable. PCI compliance fees shouldn't be more than like $5 per month. Non-compliance fees shouldn't be more than $20 per month. Go look at your statement and see if you're paying a non-compliance fee. If you are, contact your credit card processor and find out what you need to do to become compliant, so that that non-compliance fee goes away. Gateway fees should be $5 to $10 a month, not more than that. If you're paying more than that, you're overpaying. And then monthly minimums. Don't sign a contract that forces you to do a certain amount of processing every month, or they're going to charge you anyway. And finally, junk fees. And junk fees can be anything. And I want to show a quick example of this. This is a home inspector who I had known for years, and I talked to him at conferences over and over and over again. He's like, hey, I got a great rate. It's just a waste of both of our times for you to look at my statement. Finally, literally after like 4 years, he sent me a statement to look at, and he's right. He had a great rate. He's paying 0.25% above cost. That's what this is right here. So he paid interchange plus 0.25%, which means on almost $1,000 in processing, he only paid $1.95 above cost. That is a phenomenal rate. But this is the kicker. Come down here, he's got a $5.50 statement fee, $7.50 gateway fee, and look at that. They snuck in about a year and a half earlier a $99 non-compliance fee, and he had been paying that for almost a year and a half. So this is why it's super important that you're keeping track of what you're paying for credit card processing. It's so easy just to forget about it because it's working, but you need to take a look at it. This merchant, when it was all said and done, on just under $1,000 in processing, he paid $169 in fees, which is 17%. None of us can afford to run our business if your credit card processor is taking 17% off the top. So if you get nothing out of this webinar other than the fact that you need to go look at your statements, I hope that's what you learn from this. And one trick that I would do, because nobody's going to take the time to look at every single line item, go in and take a look at what you're paying overall. On average, if you're swiping your credit cards, you should be between 2 and 2.5%. If you're keying in your credit cards, 2.5 to 3.5% is normal, a 20 to 30 cent per transaction fee. So what I would do is I would go look at the total amount that you processed in a month, the total amount in fees that you paid, do the math, figure out what percentage you're paying, what your effective rate is. If it's within these ranges right here, don't worry about studying your statement, every line item. If it's significantly over that, then you're going to want to take your statement and break it down and see where you're getting overcharged. And if you just do that simple math once a month, take the total amount that you process divided by the total amount in fees, come up with the percentage. As long as plus or minus it's about the same, and it's within these ranges, then you're good. If at any time you've got a month where it goes from 2.7% on average, and then the next month you're at like 5%, you know something weird's going on, and you need to go dig deeper and find out what's going on. But that 30 seconds of doing that math could save you literally thousands of dollars. If that inspector that was paying 17% would have been doing that math, he would have saved $100 a month in monthly fees for over 18 months. That was $1,800 out of pocket that he missed out on because he didn't take the 30 seconds to do that math every month. Again, like I said, $5 to $10 per month is normal. Gateway fee between $5 and $10 is normal. I talked about the PCI compliance fees. This is a question I get all the time. So you've got all these fees that you're paying every month for credit card processing. Should I just pass them on to my customer? Can't I just make them charge those fees or pay those fees when they pay with a credit card? So the quick answer is it depends on what state you live in. There's 11 states out there where it's illegal to do that. So find out if it's even legal in your state. A quick Google search will show you that, or just email me and I can let you know if it's legal in your state. Assuming it is legal, then the question is, should I do it? And my answer is always, have you ever been to a business where that business charged you for using a credit card? If so, how did you feel about it? Every time they answer, we hated it. I hate it when that happens. Nobody likes that. So why would you do that to your customers? So can you do it? Yes. There's companies out there where that's 100% of their pitch. Hey, credit card processing's free because we pass it all on to your customers. Customers hate it. You hate it. So don't do it to your customers would be my suggestion. Now, if you absolutely have to do it and you refuse to pay your credit card processing fees, what I would do, increase your inspection fee by 3% and then give a 3% cash discount. It's the same thing, but the semantics are completely different. You're giving your customer a discount instead of penalizing them. Nobody wants to be penalized. And frankly, you could do a great inspection. It comes down to the end. They pay with a credit card. You charge them $15. They go to the real estate agent that referred them and said, yeah, the guy was a great inspector, but the dirtbag charged me $15 for running a credit card. It only takes one of those to ruin a relationship with your real estate agents. So in my opinion, it's just not worth it. But if you have to do it, do a cash discount. So just quickly, some of the advantages of using us over other credit card processors. 100% of our business is home inspectors. That's it. That's all we do. And for over a decade, that's been the case. So last year, we set our record. We went to 18 home inspection conferences last year. We support your industry. We support your state associations, your national associations. We're there face to face. We're not scared for you to see us and get to know us. We want to build that relationship with you. So having a partner as a credit card processor who is completely and totally invested into your industry obviously has a ton of advantages. If you have an issue with your credit card processing account and you're with Square, they don't care. We do. Wells Fargo doesn't care. We do. We have a vested interest in making sure that you're satisfied and that we take care of you. And it doesn't cost you anything extra to use us. So you get that level of service, personal service, but we'll also guarantee that we save you money by using us. So it doesn't matter what you're paying, everybody has the same cost. We have the same cost as Costco and Wells Fargo and everybody else. So regardless of what you're paying, we can save you money. So you can get our level of service and we can save you money at the same time. We don't surprise you. There's no hidden fees, nothing that's ever, no surprises. That simple. You're going to know exactly what you're paying. And then this is a big one. We're compatible with your software, most likely. So we work with all of the major inspection softwares in the market, and we're the primary vendor for most of them. So whether you're using ISN or HomeGauge or NextInspect or Horizon, all of those guys integrate with us. And like I said, we have great relationships with a lot of the state and national associations, including InterNACHI. We're proud to be a part of them and to support their conference. So Ben started off talking about the conference that they're doing. We've been to the last two, the one in New Jersey, the one in Boulder, and they were amazing. So I would absolutely recommend that you guys take time out of your day or your week to go to that conference. It's amazing. So we're compatible with these guys, and what that means to be compatible is that everything that you do when it comes to processing is going to happen within the software you're already using. So when you book an inspection, a payment link is going to be automatically included with that first email. When you send out the inspection report, if the customer hasn't paid yet, there's going to be a payment link that they can click on that allows them to pay and unlock that inspection report. So we're completely and totally integrated with these software programs. And so what I wanted to offer today and talk to you about finally is what to do next. So if you're at all interested in working with us, what I want you to do is just shoot an email to me personally, Aaron@smallbizguardian.com. In that email, just put your name, your business name, your phone number, and what inspection software you're using. And then make a note that you were listening to this webinar. And if you do that, by the end of the month, we'll give you, if you get set up with us, sometime by the end of the month, and you let us know that you heard this webinar, we'll give you a $100 sign-on bonus. So that's something that we're just doing for you guys as InterNACHI members, and specifically for these guys that are listening to the webinar. So if there's somebody who's not listening to the webinar or they see it later, make sure you let us know that you listened, and we'll take care of you and do that $100 bonus for you. So that's it. I wanted to open the time up now to, if anybody has any questions or anything I can help answer with your existing account or setting up a new account.
Yeah, we do have some questions.
Great.
So Jim asks, he's on NACHI TV. We're also on Facebook. If anybody on Facebook wants to ask a question. Jim asks, so there are no club fees, no contract, no compliance fee, and no minimal monthly fees. What's the percentage to use the card?
That's a great question. So we have a default rate that we give to everybody, and it's a super low rate. It's a tier system. So you're going to pay one of three rates. If it's the debit cards are the lowest rates, those are going to be 1.7%. Your normal credit cards are going to be 2.69%. And then if it's a corporate card or one of the higher tier rewards cards, it's 3.29%. And then there's a 30-cent per transaction fee. And that's it. So you're going to pay one of those three rate tiers and 30 cents per transaction and nothing else. So if you don't use it, it doesn't cost you a dime. There's no PCI compliance fees. There's no PCI non-compliance fees. There's no setup fees. There's no annual fee. There's no contract. You just pay when you use it. So especially for you new home inspectors who may not be doing a lot of volume, an account that has no monthly fees that doesn't cost you anything if you don't use it is super important. Now, right. That being said, those are the default rates. If you think you've got better rates, or if you do have better rates than what we're offering, all we ask you to do on that, when you send that email over to me, include a copy of your statement and I'll customize a proposal for you, show you how much money we can save you, and we'll offer you a customized rate plan. And if we save you enough to make it worth switching over, then great. We'll get you switched over. We also have a $500 guarantee. So if we can't save you money, we'll give you $500 just for giving us the opportunity to give you a proposal.
Nice.
So really simple rate plan, no hidden fees, no surprises. You pay one of those 3 rates in those tiers, and 30 cents per transaction, and that's it.
Joshua on Facebook asks, oh, I think you already answered it. Will you be integrated with Spectora anytime soon?
We are integrated with Spectora right now. So the only difference is we don't have any monthly fees. A couple of the inspection software programs out there use a gateway called Authorize.net. Spectora is one of those. HomeGauge is one of those. Authorize.net charges you $5 per month for their gateway. So we can integrate with Spectora. We set you up with the Authorize.net gateway. There will be a $5 monthly fee for the Authorize.net. But again, no monthly fees for us.
John asks, and you already offered to help with people to know about their state. John asks, can I charge a convenience fee in the state of Kansas? But maybe everybody who has a particular question could email you that, right?
Yeah, and while we're talking, I'll do a quick Google search and I'll pull up that list of states.
And there's another question while you're doing that.
Yeah.
There's also a question about like, I guess it's more of a customer service recommendation. Let's see, Scott asks, so if someone schedules in advance, do we encourage them to go ahead and pay at the time of the scheduling, like maybe taking a credit card online to hold their appointments, or should we ask them to pay just before the inspection or right after the inspection? I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, that's a great question. My thought is if you have the ability to get them to pay before the inspection, that's what you want to do. It's simply because, again, it reduces the number of cancellations. It makes it so that when their real estate agent or somebody else tries to convince them to move to a different inspector, they've already paid you, so they're less likely to do that. If they're already on site, I don't know that it's a big deal that you get paid before or after. There might be that rare situation where you've got an inspection that just goes horrible, right? There's cracks in the foundations, there's holes in the roof, there's water, and you just know they're not going to buy the house. In that situation, it might have been better to get the money before you started the inspection. But I know most inspectors don't do that. It's just not, it's kind of a weird way to start that relationship when you're on site with the customer of saying, hey, pay me before I do anything, right? So that's why it's also easier and just more convenient for them and for you, less awkward to get it beforehand. If you've got a software that's automatically sending out that first booking email, like, hey, thanks for booking with us, you're scheduled for this time and this date, click here to pay for your home inspection. If they've got that payment integrated already into your software, we can integrate with it. If your software doesn't have anything like that or integrated credit card processing, and there's a few of them out there that don't, like PalmTech and 3D, some of them don't have integrated credit card processing, we can help you get a payment link set up on your website. So you can just include in that first email a link to your website, and that way you can still do the same thing. It's not integrated with your software. You're directing them to your site to pay, but it gives them that opportunity to pay. Most guys aren't forcing customers to pay up front. They just give them the opportunity to if they want to. And what you'll find is, depending on the area of the country you live in, about 40 to 60% of the time they're going to pay up front just because you gave them the option to do it.
Yep, Andy just asked that question. Do you have to go through your inspection software? What if you use something separate, like a separate invoice? Can you help out?
Yep, absolutely. So it's really simple. It's a free service that we'll offer. All you've got to do, if you're the web developer for your own website, all you need to do is create a new tab up there, a payments tab. You put whatever text you want to put in there. So as forceful or as passive as you want to be. We encourage everybody to pay with credit card before the inspection, to hey, if you want to pay before the inspection, or we're not going to show up unless you click on this link and pay for it before the inspection, whatever you want to put. And then we'll help you customize a button in there, just a pay now button that'll take them to the back end site that we set up for you, where the customer can enter their information and pay for it there.
Let's see, Ted asks, am I able to use a card reader like Square on site, or is payment by customer through only an online portal?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it depends on the software that you're using. So none of the home inspection softwares to date have card readers that are compatible with their software. So if you're using HomeGauge or Horizon or ISN or any of those guys, there's not a card reader that's going to work and integrate with their software, but all of them have mobile apps that allow you to put the credit card information directly into their software. So for example, if you're using ISN and somebody hands you a credit card on site, you just open your ISN software, you'll go to the payment screen where it's cash, check, there'll be a credit card option. You can click on that, key enter the credit card number and the expiration date. ISN already is going to have their name, the email address, the dollar amount, so a lot of the data is already in there. So just credit card number, expiration date, hit submit, and you process the transaction right within ISN. Same goes for Horizon and HomeGauge and Home Inspector Pro and all of those guys. If you don't have one of those software programs and we're setting you up with an external processing service that's going to be on your website, then yes, we have our own mobile app that's free and it's included with your account. And we have a card reader, either the audio jack one that just plugs into the audio jack. If you don't have the audio jack, then we have a Bluetooth card reader. The audio jack one's like 25 bucks. The Bluetooth card reader one's like 80 bucks. And then you can process payments on site with one of those readers through our mobile app.
Aaron, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today.
Thank you.
And I really like that you made the points that you're 100% all about home inspections and that you show up at the events, unlike some other credit card companies. And there are no surprises with you. Everything's really transparent and upfront. And I really appreciate the easy 1, 2, 3 steps for us. The attendees of the webinar get a little surprise and a benefit for going with you. So I really appreciate it.
No problem. It was a pleasure, and I appreciate you having us on today.
Thanks, Aaron. And everybody, if you need to ask more questions, feel free to email Aaron, and that's at Aaron at, what is it again?
It's smallbizguardian.com.
Aaron at smallbizguardian.com. Aaron, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.